Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me once again. So I'm pretty sure you all know Trump has put in his bid to run for 2024. He has put in his bid to run for 2024. We've been kept in suspense for all this time, but this is official, and I believe he did this yesterday. So without going into any further details on this, let's get into this article from the Epoch Times. I'm going to read you a portion of this article, and then I'm going to let you know what I think this means for us, because there's been different opinions about Trump running again and so forth, and I've did videos on this in the past, but I'm going to give you my present opinion on what I think this means for the American people. So let's get right into this article. And it starts off, former President Donald Trump commenced his third campaign for the White House on November 15th. Trump, 76, who had hinted at a 2024 run for more than a year, announced the presidential bid in a primetime speech at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for president of the United States, Trump said. I can imagine the people that were there were probably shouting and hoo-ah and all the rest. The former president stressed that this won't be his campaign, but, quote, our campaign, saying that the only force, quote, strong enough to defeat the massive corruption we are up against is you, the American people. And let me say something real quick on that. That's the right strategy, because we all know that Trump can be somewhat arrogant, like every strong leader tends to be to some occasions. But Trump, he has an ego, and he likes to he says I did this and I did this. But to say this, to use the term we the American people, that's the right tactic to use. That's the right strategy to use. Okay. He says, together we will be taking on the most corrupt forces and entrenched interests imaginable. Our country is in a horrible state. We're in great trouble. Facing a crowd of supporters and allies, the 45th president blamed the Biden administration and Democrats for high inflation, threat of war, and the open southern border. He outlined a familiar vision for returning the nation to greatness, including strong foreign policy, lowering taxes, and slashing regulations. America's comeback starts right now, Trump said. 2 years ago, when I left office, our nation stood ready for its golden age. We turned a page on decades of globalist sellouts, absolutely, and one-sided trade deals, absolutely, lifted millions out of poverty, and together we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. I don't know about that, but some have argued, yes, some have argued that the greatest economy in the history of the world was under President Reagan's presidency. So, but that can be argued, who knows. Trump touted his record with foreign adversaries, saying China, Russia, and North Korea were all in check 2 years ago. For the first time in memory, China was reeling and back on its heels. You've never seen that before, because the United States was outdoing them on every single front, and China was paying billions and billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs. Trump said he believes the pressure he placed on China spurred the Chinese Communist Party to, quote, play a very active role in the 2020 election. We will launch an all-out campaign to eliminate America's dependence from China, the former president promised. As expected, Trump took aim at President Joe Biden, blaming, quote, the failing nation on him and his administration. Joe Biden is the face of the left-wing failure and Washington corruption, he said, for millions of Americans. The past 2 years under Joe Biden has been a time of pain, hardship, anxiety, and despair. I have to agree with that, because I'm certainly suffering it. Trump, the Republican Party's de facto leader, launched his campaign in a period of heightened uncertainty for Congress and GOP. A full week after Election Day for the 2022 midterms, Republicans were still one seat from securing control of the U.S. House of Representatives. And that's all I want to read right there for that article right there. I want to read some of these comments in the comment section here in the Epoch Times here about Trump coming back. And it says, here's one comment from a person by the name of Paulette. It says, I love Trump for what he has accomplished and can accomplish in the future. I like DeSantis as well, but DeSantis does not have the foreign policy credentials that Trump has. And here's another one that says, by Tammy says, and he starts out by insulting American Governor DeSantis. Stupid way to start something. He could have started on a great note foot. So disappointed in him for that. Doesn't sound too popular. That doesn't sound too great. Another one says, Trump this is by Ever Trumper. Trump is the only one with the insight and the kahunas to take on the corruption of the left from the top down. If he is not successful, this nation and the freedom it represents for the common man and woman will be no more. And one person by the name of Don't Blame Me says, America needs you, President Trump. I'm going to read one more here. Here's one here that I think is very important that we understand and retain. It says, this is from Patrick Wetmore. It says, sadly, with fraud and ballot harvesting, no GOP is going to win Arizona or Pennsylvania. It's over, period. Come back, Jesus. Yeah, I hear you. Okay, that's what I'm going to read right there because it goes more into more detail there. But I have made videos in the past about my disagreement with Trump reelecting. This is during the time or campaigning again for the presidency in 2024. This was during a time during Trump's speeches and so forth that he was giving during this time. This is a really real volatile time. He was under a constant, intense attack by the radical left, the Democrats, and they were all trying their best to blame January 6th on him, that he somehow conspired together to get a bunch of people together to come and storm the White House, which that is not what happened. I've heard his entire speech. He did not say that. But they use that as a way, the radical left Democrats use that as a way to demonize Trump, as they've been doing throughout his presidency. Nevertheless, in spite of all of that, the question is, what do I personally believe that this means for Americans today, right now? Prepare yourself for an all-out war. And what I mean by war, I don't mean guns and physical violence necessarily. I mean misinformation, twisting of the truth on a level that you cannot even imagine. He have gotten out here and he have said, I'm going to run for president in 2024. Okay, the Democrats and the establishment prior to that in 2016 said HELL no. It wasn't going to happen. Woo, 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 woo. It ended up happening. They were so angry and mad, they launched an attack against him that was unlike any attack in any former Republican president in the past. Now, what do you think is going to happen this time? Now, in a previous video, some months ago, I said that Trump shouldn't run again, and I based my opinion on his age and the nonsense and stuff that's going to come up from the left wing media. I said this is going to be we're going to catch it if he tries to run again. Now, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. If it comes down to that, I would vote for him without a doubt. Without a doubt, I would vote for him. But I didn't vote for anyone in 2016 because I wasn't even involved politically in 2016. So I didn't vote for anyone. But this time around, definitely would vote for him. It would be in person, and I want to make sure that my ballot gets right in there. I don't want no mess from nobody. I don't want no confusion. I'm gonna call him out on it. Now, but I said because of his age, I don't think he should run again. And because of all the intense nonsense that's going to take place in the mainstream media. But this time, I believe it's going to concern both the GOP and the Democrats. They're going to wage a war against Trump unlike any in the past. You think his first term was intense. It's going to be even more intense. And he says in the article, if you read the rest of that article, he talks about we're going to come under an attack unlike anything in history. And he's right. But this attack will be psychological. The question is, can the American people sustain that for the next couple of years or so? Can the American people sustain that? Will Trump supporters be able to sustain that? Huh? Because from what I'm hearing from other YouTube content creators, is that people that have supported Trump in the past are starting to leave. Starting to say things like, well, he speaks too harsh. He's this, he's that. And I've heard that from different YouTube's content creators. I'm not going to name who they are, but clearly this content creator knew what they were talking about, because people, Trump supporters are not, according to what they're saying, is like they're leaving Trump. Now, I don't want to be, and that's now. That's now. So imagine him running again to campaign again in 2024. What do you think? What do you think the information, the barrage of misinformation and demonization is going to be? It's going to increase. Can you take that? Can you handle that? To me, this is the test for people who support Trump and for those who really want a better government that's not controlled by the radical Marxists. This will be their test. This will be their test. Okay. It won't matter whether or not I believe he should run again because he's kind of old, or whether or not I believe it. What's going to matter is, can people stand the test? Because you got people right now, as I said, according to the words of other YouTube content creators, are leaving Trump, saying, I don't want to be associated with him. I was reading somewhere in one particular article in Breitbart News where it was talking about, this particular news source was saying that this bid for Trump to run again in 2024 is an unequivocal no. They said, no, it's not going to happen. No, no, the same thing they said when he ran in 2016, they're saying now. So if they were talking about all this mess in 2016, what do you think they're going to do now? Can you handle the stress? Can you handle the pain? The psychological pain? That's the test. That's what I believe this is going to mean for the American people. Because, I mean, like I said, I'm hearing a lot of negative things about Trump. Well, not a lot. Let me take that back. I'm not hearing a lot of negative things about Trump. But I'm hearing things about that are not about Trump that are not too good. Like some of the comments that I read there talking about how Trump took a stab at DeSantis. Now, what I interpreted that as, he took a stab at DeSantis because he probably projects in his mind that DeSantis is going to run for the presidency in 2024. So he's just preparing DeSantis, and he's preparing himself. So he took a stab at him. That's how I saw it right away. I was like, okay. I didn't say, why would he do that to DeSantis? I said to myself, oh, DeSantis is probably going, Trump is probably going to run for 2024, and DeSantis is probably going to do the same thing. And this is Trump preparing DeSantis and himself for a war. Basically, they said you might as well get ready for it. Now, was it the right thing to say? He called him Ron DeSanctimonious. Was it the right thing to poke fun at him like that? Hey, we talking about Trump. Maybe his tactics wasn't the best tactics. We're talking about Trump. We're talking about Trump. Trump is in your face. People might as well get with the program. He's in your face. He's not a polished politician. Okay, but it does seem to indicate that he cares about America. Now, whether or not he's actually going to win, I don't know. Because this is going to be it's going to be an intense attack against him in a way that has not happened in American history. This is just my opinion. That has not happened in American history. Now, going back to the fact that he's made this announcement that he's going to run in 2024. Is it a good thing? To be honest with you, to be quite frank with you, I am excited. Even though I said in the previous video that I don't think he should run, I am excited because I'm getting sick and tired of seeing Biden. I'm getting sick and tired of seeing him and these elites. I am so tired of the elites. I don't know what to do. So to see somebody that's exciting and in your face, that's exciting. He's very entertaining. Trump is entertaining. Let's be realistic. Trump is entertaining, and that's why CNN and these other left-wing news sources can't stop talking about him, because that's the only way they're going to get ratings, to talk about Trump. Oh, he's talking about Trump? Let's watch him. Ooh. Whether it be good or bad, which is mostly bad, let's talk about Trump, because that's the only way you're going to get some ratings, because he's exciting. He's out of the box. Okay? Nobody wants to talk about Biden. Biden's boring. He can barely talk. He can barely talk. He's boring. He's your typical politician. Just saying. But I'm excited about this. Do I think he should run? Do I still go by the same idea that I had earlier? I do. I feel like he still shouldn't run. He's made the announcement to run, so it's going to be what's going to be. But I still feel he shouldn't do it based on what I said in the past. His age, he's going to be up there. And far as him being older, I'm hoping and praying that if he does win, which I don't believe both parties, GOP and Democrats, is not going to let that happen. But assuming that he does win, he's going to be much older. And I'm hoping and praying that he doesn't start blabbering around and twisting his words and halfway not knowing what to say like Biden is. Doesn't seem to indicate that right now, but who knows? And I also don't think it's because of all of the stuff that I just mentioned. The misinformation is going to come out, the demonization of it's going to be intense. And I don't want to, me personally, I don't want to deal with that anymore. Because the idea that I'm seeing from a lot of people, I won't say a lot of people, but from some people, is I do see some people waking up, but I see some other people still hanging on to the same bitterness and hate. So I'm wondering how this is going to work out. But what do you guys think about it? You think that Trump should run again? He said he's going to do. What do you think about it? So leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. God bless you all, and see you again.